Join us for a journey as we go back to the great civilizations of the past. Who were the people? What were they like? How did they begin and how did they end? Let's find out on episode 42, Let's Attack the Medes. Previously on the Fan of History, Manua, king of Urartu, expanded his power in what is today Armenia. The kingdom of Judah lost a war against Israel. Well, Dan, after all that, what are we looking forward to today?
Well, now we are in the 780s BC. And Adad-Nirari III is the king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. He's the sixth king. The Assyrians are the strongest state in the Near East, with Urartu a close second and a rival. Adad-Nirari III is a warrior king. He has been around for many episodes now, and he will be around a little while longer. We only have details for his western campaigns, which means that we don't know much about when he attacked the Medes.
Oh, no.
What happened, but we'll talk about it anyway, because that's what we do.
Exactly.
There might be a reference to Adad-Nirari III in the Bible.
Wow, really?
In Jonah 3:6 to 3:9, there is king of Nineveh. And he receives Jonah's prophecy of forthcoming doom. And then he decides to dress in sackcloth and order a fast. Is that the English word? Fast?
Yeah. Where you don't eat?
Throughout Nineveh. And it's successful, because with this fast and the sackcloth on the Assyrian king, the doom is prevented. This story does not check out. Because simply the capital of Assyria is not Nineveh.
Right.
Nineveh will become the capital later, but the capital is still in Kala, where Ashurnasirpal put it. So Adad-Nirari III's capital is Kala, not Nineveh. So, yeah. But if you try to identify this king, it's most likely Adad-Nirari III. So, about the state of the empire, Adad-Nirari III has done a lot to stop the decline of the Neo-Assyrian Empire, but the empire is crumbling under its own weight. The system is not designed to support a state of this size. And remember that Ashurnasirpal II, he made all the governors of provinces eunuchs.
Oh, yeah.
This is long gone, so we have powerful houses controlling the provinces. And it's all turning Game of Thrones-like.
So each one of the formerly held by eunuch cities are now well entrenched with a specific genealogy.
Yeah, I talked about how this happens, because this happened to Joe China as well.
Yep.
And the thing is, the king has a trusted general that he really likes. So he's like, I can put this guy as the governor of the province because I can really trust this guy. And the general is like, I am 100% loyal to the king. I will govern this province and obey the king. And it all works out. But then one of them dies.
Yep.
And the next generation takes over. Then 2-3 generations later, there is no loyalty left, except what is forced on them. So Assyria is gonna have civil problems in the order of the empire. We also don't really know what's going on in Babylon, if Babylon even counts as part of the empire of Babylonia, the country around the city of Babylon, the southern Mesopotamia. But for now, Adad-Nirari III and his strong field marshal Shamshi-Ilu is keeping the empire together, and it looks kind of okay. So let's jump over to Greece, because the Greeks will take over this podcast. There will be episodes where we'll talk only about Greeks.
They will become the new Assyrians.
Yes, in a very different way. The Greeks are now ready in the 780s BC to begin taking over the Mediterranean. We will spend a whole episode talking just about this colonization process because it's unparalleled. It's so extreme. There are already colonies. We talked about Almina in Syria. We talked about the Ionian coast of Turkey. And we talked about the Bay of Naples, where there are already Greeks. The island of Euboea, this backwater today, is the center of Greek power. But in the next decade, in the 70s BC, somebody will have a brilliant idea how to unify the Greeks, how to make the Greeks great. So something extraordinary that will still influence the world this very summer of 2016. It will happen in the 770s BC, and we'll spend an episode on that too. The Greeks are gradually forgetting about the concept of being Dorians or being Achaeans, and they're more and more becoming Hellenes, Greeks. Remember, Greek is a word that the Romans used for, they got it from one Greek tribe, and they just used it on all the Greeks. But the correct term is Hellenes.
Okay.
So the Greeks never talked about themselves as Greeks in ancient times. The Greeks are also about to rediscover writing. They have not had writings during the whole Dark Age, and not since the 12th or the 13th century have they been able to write anything down.
So when they pick it up again, do they pick up the old way, or do they come up with a completely new way?
No, the old way of writing was lost, and some of it has been discovered by scientists, and we can now read it, but they could not read it in the 8th century BC.
Okay.
So they will pick up writing from the Phoenicians.
Oh, right. Phonetic. I forgot.
Yes. But now, let's see what Adad-Nirari III is up to. In 789 BC, Adad-Nirari III decides to attack the Medes!
Attack those Medes!
Attack the Medes! There are 8 wars against the Medes during Adad-Nirari III's reign. And we don't know what this is about. We know that the Medes is pretty much a horse people in the Zagros Mountains in Iran. And we don't know who's ruling them. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know why they're getting attacked by the Assyrians all the time. But apparently the Assyrians can't beat them. They are never made into a vassal state. It is possible that the Medes are vassals of the Manians, but why are the Manians not getting attacked here? It is the Medes getting attacked. Or maybe at this time, Mede was a term meaning anybody in the Zagros Mountains.
It seems strange because I get it if they're taking horses, because they clearly need horses, but how could sacking, basically horse farmers year after year yield anything for them? Because it would take time. Let's just talk horse husbandry. You're going to have to give them time to replenish their stock, because if you took all of them, they're not going to have any more horses. So it's going to at least take a year. I guess they would have to do it very selectively. I don't know. It seems so strange that they would attack over and over again. You would deplete their stock so much that, like, my mind goes to, like, this is a big attacking conspiracy. Like, they didn't really do it. They said, hey, every year we're going to make a lot of noise, but what we're really going to do is come here and buy a lot of horses. Because who's going to tell on them? Seriously. They just kind of go hang out in the mountains for a while, chill out. Maybe they fight a little bit so everybody feels kind of good about themselves.
If they attack someone and says that he's a Mede.
Yeah. Oh no, those idiots down there. Yeah, we're gonna attack them and say we beat y'all up. Is that cool? Yeah, fine with us. We don't care. Here's some horses.
Yeah, because the Assyrian king has a religious duty to go on campaigns. He has to write something in the chronicle that this year I attacked. And if he has nothing to fill in, maybe he fills in the Medes.
He just fills in the Medes, exactly. They go and buy horses and say, we beat up the Medes. You know, those guys.
I think also that mountain warfare is kind of not the thing the Assyrians like to do a lot. So, and the Zagros Mountains are smaller than the mountains of Urartu, as I understand it. So maybe this is just exercise for the war that the Assyrians know will come. They want to invade Urartu again. And maybe they can practice in the Zagros Mountains against the Medes. But they are very different enemies, because the Medes will probably just retreat like any barbarian people.
Sure.
Whereas the Urartians never retreat, or they will retreat, but they are fortifying. Their strategy is building forts to defend their mountains, and the Medes are not building any forts. But we will attack the Medes again later in this episode, so let's move on to 788 BC, where Adad-Nirari III gets religious and builds a temple to Nabu.
Nabu?
Yes, and this is not the Star Wars planet. It's the scribe of the gods in the Mesopotamian pantheon.
Okay.
That is another Babylonian god that is influencing Assyrians. Remember, the Assyrians are monotheists. They worship Ashur, the god of war, who is all gods. But that includes the aspect of Ashur that is Nabu. So the worship of Nabu in Assyria is suspiciously like the worship of Nabu in Babylonia. But this started way back with Ashurnasirpal II, who also had a soft spot for the scribe of the gods, Nabu. This temple is finished in 787 BC. The Assyrian kings, after hunting and going on campaign, they love building stuff that stands around and reminds people of how great they were.
Mm-hmm.
So all the Assyrian kings up to this point have built stuff. And we mentioned some of it. The biggest thing is probably the capital of Kala, built by Ashurnasirpal II. But we will see that after Adad-Nirari III, this building process really declines as well. Because Adad-Nirari III built other stuff as well. He built his own palace at Kala.
Okay.
He built he built a palace in Nineveh. And Nineveh is one of these ancient Assyrian cities that has been around from the very start of the empire. But Nineveh is not yet the capital then. It will be the final, biggest, amazing capital of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. But that's not yet. And then Shamshi-Ilu, the field marshal, did extensive repairs and fortifications at Fort Shalmaneser, which is the old Bitadini capital in the north, which is sort of turning into a war capital for Shamshi-Ilu. And it's his hometown, so he really likes this place. Very close to Urartu. Also in 788 BC, Adad-Nirari III has to attack someone. And can you guess who he attacks?
Hold up. Let me think. Could it possibly be the Medes?
Yes! In 788 BC, Adad-Nirari III attacks the Medes. In 787 BC, Adad-Nirari III attacks the Medes.
The Medes.
3 years in a row. Gotta beat up those Medes.
Those Medes they're just some jerks.
Yeah, I think it's like the industrial military complex in Neo-Assyria.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, no, we can't do that because we are at war with the Medes.
Right.
Who are these Medes? I've never seen them. Oh, they are in the mountains.
Oh, right. I assure you there are Medes, and they need to be beat.
Yes, I know you have civil rights, but we can't. We have to ignore them now because we are at war with the Medes.
Yeah, this is repeating itself, Dan. Sounds so familiar.
In 786 BC, Adad-Nirari III attacks Kisku.
What? Not the Medes?
No, maybe it's the Medes. because I don't know what Kisku is. If anyone knows what this is, please let me know in the comments. Because this is just an entry in the Epinom Chronicle. And the Epinom Chronicle is a continuous document with just one line, pretty much, for every year that says who was attacked. It says two things. It says, during the eponymy of someone, and for this year, it's during the eponymy of Nabu Sarra Usur, the governor of Talmusu, the king campaigned against Kisku. So we know somebody important becomes the eponym name of this year. And in the first year of the king, it's always the king.
Sure.
But then it's like the highest honor in Assyria to get into the Epinom Chronicle. And then your title, and then who was attacked this year. So this year, they go to Kisku. And maybe that's a Mede town or something. But we don't know. So now we are in 786 BC. Those Medes are getting the deserved attention for some reason. Adad-Nirari III is still around. And that's where we are going to leave him this time.
We're just going to leave him there, huh?
Yes. Occupied with the Mede problem.
Yeah. The ever-growing Mede problem. He wants to keep your children safe from the Medes, Dan.
Yes. They'll have to trust the king and the provincial governors because the Medes could come any day.
Exactly.
And it is interesting to think about that when the Neo-Assyrian Empire falls and the capital gets sacked and destroyed in 612 BC, guess who does it? The Medes.
The Medes?
Yes.
Oh man, they're tired.
There will be payback for all these attacks. so the threat was real, right?
Right.
But it's 170 years later than this.
Oh. So yeah, either they were some serious proselytizing. Was it prophesying, right? That's how you say it.
Yep.
Unless there were some serious prophets going on. This just seems like a self-fulfilling issue.
They created this enemy that overtook them in the end.
They sure did.
I think the Medes just carry grudges for a very long time.
Well, that's probably true too. All right. Well, our next episode, it looks like we're going to enter into those dark, dark days. And it's time to meet the not-so-mysterious Etruscans for the very first time.
Oh, yes.
All right. So, let's have everybody go to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, share, tell your friends about us. Write a review on iTunes, and we will read it on this very podcast. So, also, don't forget, facebook.com/fanofhistory, patreon.com/fanofhistory to keep this podcast going. Become a Patreon, even for $1 an episode. It would really help us with our goals of continuing on the stories.
Definitely. Doing a podcast costs money, and we'd like to continue beyond. I promise to do this until 701 BC and the destruction of Sennacherib. But in order to go further, in order to go into the amazing 7th century BC and watch the Medes destroy Assyria, we have to find some advertisers or sponsors. You can help out at patreon.com/fanofhistory.
Yeah, we don't mind having a sponsor for the show. We will read your, whatever you need us to tell people. Just let us know.
If there are any Medes out there, maybe you would sponsor us.
Yeah. Hey, man, we're on your side. Those guys were jerks.
Yes. We know what you've been through.
Exactly. We read all about it. All right, well, I guess for this week, I am Brennan.
And I'm Dan.
And this has been The Fan of History.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Patreon.com/fanofhistory. Just $1 an episode would help us out. Thanks, and see you next time.